These birds, all of them, will ultimately emerge from this bleak existence that they knew inside of a brooder, then inside here, then ultimately they're all gonna come out. How cool is that, y'all? Maybe we should take a few lessons from nature.
This is Perma Pastures Farm in action, where permaculture is my passion.
Hey y'all, Billy from Perma Pastures Farm. Beautiful morning, perfect. Okay, a bunch of things have happened already. In this, we call this our meat bird tractor. It's a 6x6 chickshaw with legs that basically stab into the ground. So what we had in here were the Bielfelders that we were bringing into our laying flock. That's a type of bird. Anyway, we got rid of some of the old birds. We're about to process them today, and we got them. They woke up this morning basically with the old flock. And what we have inside here are the chicks, the ginger broilers. I don't remember the hatchery we got them from. And they're about 2 weeks old. We got them outside, and here they are. We put them in last night. We always like to do our moves at night because there's less fighting with the birds. They're asleep. They don't know what's going on, but it means less sleep for us too. But it makes the transition a lot easier, at least in our opinion. So they're all up inside here. I know it looks pretty rough right now, but we got them in a rough part of the property that needs attention. This is going to be the new iteration of the chicken tractor on steroids. Every time we do it a little bit different. Now, remember, the impetus for this was the fact that we had all of that bagged soil. It wasn't a whole lot of it, but we used it inside that high tunnel, which is right there behind me. And what we need is to amend the junk that was put in there instead of taking it all back out. Well, that's what they're meant to do. Also, we don't need that much of it, but what we're going to do with the excess of it is right alongside me is this orchard that's emerging, okay? This is one we just put in this last fall. So it's coming up as well. So first things first, we're going to show you from start to finish how we do that. We got other playlists on it if you want to check that out. But I think we're better storytellers than we were before. So we're going to try to do this in greater detail to answer some of the questions before you might even ask them. So first things first, we're here in this high grass. Those chicks ain't digging it. They're not going to like that. First thing we're going to do, William and I got a little bit of work to do uphill. Michelle's going to come in with her weed eater, and she's going to basically take this down, scalp it really, really low, so the birds are going to be less frightened to come out of there. All right, so these birds are 2 weeks old. They may be up to a month, depending on the time of year you get them out, before you get them out. Now the weather's pretty warm, and these guys are growing like Nephilim, you know, those Nephilim Cornish crosses. And they definitely got some big boy feathers on them, so I'm not too concerned about it at night. In fact, you can hear them. Yeah, they're in there chirping, doing what chickens do. Okay, so we got our compost cage set up, and just so you know, it's basically a section of woven wire fence that we've attached 1-inch hardware cloth to. So that's basically what you see there. If I remember right, it's 18 inches high, or maybe 2 feet high and 6 feet in diameter. What you gotta have in order to make this system work, you need at least a cubic yard. We have found out through all this experimentation over the years that it works better, even better, if we can go 1.5 to 2 cubic yards. You don't want to go over 3 for a whole bunch of reasons. Okay, so these guys, second week, I mean, we're going to not change anything up, but we're not going to be full-fledged off and running chicken tractor on steroids yet. We're going to give them what I call induction. And what that means right now is that all we're going to do, we got planks up at the house that we didn't bring down, I think anyway. If not, we'll have to make more. This area, Michelle cut this whole thing, clear cut it all the way plumb to the ground, and you got to when they're this small. So in this cage, we're going to treat it just like you would an 18-day compost pile. First thing we're going to do is saturate the inside of this bottom. and this footprint right here. And when that's done, we're basically, and this is only going to apply for the first time we get them out in this first cage when they're so little. Then we're going to take all this stuff that was inside their brooder, we put it in all these bags. We're going to take all this stuff and we're going to layer it through and we're going to water it as we go. So that's the next step. All right, this comfrey will help activate the composting process. We may put some on top also for them to eat. All right, so what we got right now is not the way it's going to be when we get further along in this system. So just kind of hang out with us and find out how we do this. So basically we've taken all that stuff that was up there, put it in here. Now that we've added water to it, and there's water and nitrogen, there's some in here, there's some carbon, plenty of that. They're gonna come out here and poop on it. This is your beginning compost cage, okay? I'm not expecting them to do a whole lot when they're this age. So here's what's gonna happen next. We're gonna take 2 feeders, and they're still gonna be on their store-bought feeder for now. We're gonna take one eventually and set it right here in the middle. Michelle, could you hand me one over there? I'll kind of demonstrate that. And then for this first day, maybe 2, I'm gonna take one and stick it right inside there, because this whole experience for them is a brutal assault. So they're not gonna wanna just come barreling out that door like they will in the future. So we're basically gonna take one, it'll have store-bought feed in it. And up until this point with 50 birds, we've used 1.5 bags. So we'll put one here, we'll put one inside just for the first day. We'll also do the same thing with the waterer. We'll have one outside, and then we'll have one inside their chickshaw, and then one outside as well. Now we'll eventually get to the point where we remove the ones from the inside, and right here is the only place they're gonna go. So what we're doing is training them. I think we're gonna have to make more planks, because I think they got accidentally thrown away, or they were dry rot. I can't remember what the deal was. So what we're gonna do is put at least 3 planks on this thing. One here, and one there. And the natural curiosity of these birds is gonna make them wanna jump up in here. And then they're gonna say, oh, there's food. So we're training them to know that this is where they go to get their food. The first day is the only day, maybe 2, that they're ever gonna have food on the inside of that. So with that said, we gotta go down, and of course Michelle's over here holding that decoy owl. We'll talk more in the future why we have very little birds of prey pressure around here. Now, the next thing to do is for us to go down there, pick up the old net that was around the other birds, take it up here, and we're gonna show you the way we go about it when it comes to keeping these little birds inside here with that net. So what we do when we first get them out is that we triple up this fence. And it's cool, because when these little guys are little like this, the problem we run into is they're gonna, I don't care how good your fence is, they're gonna get right through that, I guarantee it. No matter how hot, no matter what. If you try to leave it, it's one big fence. But we'll triple this thing up all the way around, at least, well, it depends on the growth. When we get to the point where we know they respect this fence, it's gonna be all good. But the best way to get around it is tripling up the fence. So we'll start that first one right here and commence to going around.
Killing they cells, steady killing they cells. 10 windows drop, gates got us as cells. You listening to bars, but we staring at them. What's your sound opinion to a sparkling atom and fathom?
All right, fence is tripled up. We'll make it hot after a while. That's up to you how you want to do it. We've shown you before how we can basically, depending on the ground conductivity in your area, we've taken one of those solar charges, used it here, clipped it to one of the legs, put the other part on the hot part, and then we're off and running. I'll leave that up to you. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen now. Like I said, we got our feeder. There's nothing in it right now, but it's out there for demonstration purposes. We'll have a waterer on the outside, and then we'll have the same thing on the inside. And of course, our handy dandy bobblehead owl. It basically tells all the aerial predators go away. But we got other methods on dealing with that. Okay, so for those that don't know, that are new to this system, this is why this is the most groundbreaking compost and chicken and egg producing system on the planet. I'm just going to give you a snapshot now. Go back and check those playlists if you need to. They may be, I think they're going to be listed down below. So here's the big thing. Here's why this system is so fantastic. They're going to derive ultimately, not right yet, they will ultimately, when I say they, all 50 of these birds are going to get all their protein out of that pile. Not now, but later. Don't worry. I know that you're thinking that sounds weird. Don't worry. We've done it many, many times before. We're going to show you how to do it again. And we are going to provide their carbohydrates, whether it's in the form of things like this comfrey right here, which I'll go ahead and grab a little bit, put it down in there for them. Whether it's that, whether it's the comfrey, whether it's the food scraps we acquire, all of that's going to happen right here in this cage. But all you need to know right now, so we don't overwhelm anybody, is that right now we're in that induction period. We want them to know and learn after this day that this is where they go to get their grub. So I'm going to open the door, but they're probably not going to come out. So let's take a look in there and see what they're doing. All right, so what's going to happen at this point? We're going to have one brave soul. It's just like the allegory of Plato's cave, but a little bit different. We're going to have one brave soul come out and then run back in. Come out a little further, run back in. Next thing you know, there's going to be two of them out. Sooner or later, at some point, they're all going to be out at some point. Unlike Plato's cave, where the person emerges, they go out there, see a blue sky, green grass, all these wonders. He goes back down in the cave to tell everybody, hey, this is all a false reality. And then they kill him. Well, unlike Plato's cave, these birds, all of them will ultimately emerge from this bleak existence that they knew inside of a brooder, then inside here, then ultimately they're all gonna come out. How cool is that, y'all? Maybe we should take a few lessons from nature. That's permaculture. Okay, with that said, we're gonna leave these guys alone. We're gonna go up and we're gonna move on to the next thing. Remember, we're rearranging everything when it comes to our birds. All right, so got the little birds down there. They're all set, ready, rock and rolling, all that good stuff. Now, the birds, the Bielefelders that we pulled in there, the biggest thing I want to make sure we keep are the, well, right now we got two roosters in there. One's going to go to Justin at Metcalf Mills, and we're going to keep the other one. Very, very cool roosters. But we got two roosters in there among 26 birds, so I'm not so sure how that's going to pan out. Usually the ratio is way too high. So far, so good. Okay. So the ones that we have out of there, we got them in this dog crate that we pulled up last night. There's only 4 birds that we're going to extract. One of them being Persimmon Phil, the rooster that was down there. I should have gone Old Testament on him a long time ago based on how he was behaving. But in light of the times, I didn't know how available I might have another rooster. So I got another rooster into that pot. He's going to go head first. But before all that, we're going to pull him out of here. This kill cone operation, we're going to try a little something that I thought of a while back. We basically, because we're only doing 4 birds, I'm not worried about setting up a big, apparatus to try to bleed them out. It's really nothing more than this traffic cone and this 5-gallon bucket. So what's going to happen? William's going to snatch one up. We're going to put them in here. We're going to, look, there's no, if you're looking for a way to figure out how to do this properly, check out Jason from Sow the Land. His video is linked down below. So we can't cover that on YouTube anyhow. Promise you, that's going to be the best instruction you could ever hope for in such things. But we're going to do it a little bit different today. We're going to get them in here. I'm going to hang on to the feet. William's going to, make the cut. And then we're going to stick them down in this bucket. And we're going to do every last one of them in this bucket and bleed them out. And then, of course, because we don't waste anything, we're going to take that blood. And guess what? Just like they said back in the Civil War, what makes the green grass grow? The red blood. So we're going to make sure that these animals are respected and every bit of them is used. Remember, like in the words of Jeff Lawton, if it lived, it can live again, and this life will live on in a lot of other plants out here. So with that said, it's time to get hopping. Ordinarily, we would take this little holy bucket here that I hit with a 1/2-inch drill bit and stick it under here. Didn't do it, forgot about it, but normally it would catch all this. Now, I'm putting it in here to show you that absolutely, and we're going to show you today, the way we do it, the way every person that does this, honestly, to totally and completely respect this animal, we make absolutely sure that we use every single part of it. So, this is going to tie into something we did earlier. All right, here's a little method I came up with along with my friend Darren over at Hacks for the Homesteader. We came up with this a while ago, and I think you're going to dig it. So you can use this for a couple of reasons. If you have a small refrigerator, like a freezer above a refrigerator, we've actually gotten, I think we did a video, I know we did a video where we got 40 birds and still had room left over. Probably could get somewhere in the neighborhood of about 60 birds. So it's real simple. We're going to have Martha Stewart Visits Farm Life. So all you're going to do is make an incision on each side of the legs, just like so. And listen to this. We're going to knock it out of joint, and we're going to turn it inside out, just like that. We can see it pop right up out of the hip, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to use this as a base. So now the chicken, unlike these others, if I try to work on this breast, it's going to roll on me. Now I got a little platform I can work with. Now we're going to take, this is a brand new knife, y'all. I've been wanting to use this thing. Came from my man Sheldon, who lives down the road. Anybody wants one? Hook me up. In fact, it goes, the tang goes all the way through it, unlike a Victorinox. There's nothing wrong with Victorinox, but I really love this. Okay, so we're going to come right down that keel bone, and all I'm going to do is ride my knife up against the inside of there. Now the breasts on these aren't like what you would have on a Cornish crossed. I'm going to go real slow. Remember, butchery, all butchery, small cuts, small mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off. So we got a breast. We're going to flip it around, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. Just ride that keel bone all the way down. We're basically, you got this little pocket right inside here. You want to make sure you stay out of there. So stay on the outside of it. Just take your time, and never forget small cuts, small mistakes. My friend Rosie back there at SOE, as soon as I say that, she's filling in the blank. One of the best students you could ever hope for in all things. We got another breast. If I want, I could go ahead and remove the skin from the outside of it. But why would I ever want to do? Only a savage would do such things. So we're going to go ahead and get the wings. We're going to go down and then back up. Got one wing. And then you can let gravity do 90% of it on this, you know. You're going to go down. There's a pocket in there. And the best way to do this is just put your hands on it, okay? So we got breasts. We got wings. I'm going to take, when it comes to the thigh, I could have taken these off, but I got this on here for a reason. Okay, there's this nugget right back up in here, that oyster that comes on every thigh. My favorite part on every single bird. And take note, this is an old bird, but look at all that yellow fat on there. You see that? Now you're probably also thinking, this dude hadn't even taken the guts out of this thing yet, right? Well, there's a reason. We'll get to that. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. Make sure I get that nugget down in there. Take your time. Small cuts, small mistakes. I'm saying it once more. Okay, we'll just put this off to the side. And right here, you see that fat line. I can cut through it. I usually like to use a heavier knife for this. Okay, here we go. So we have our two breasts sitting right here. I'm going to leave the skin on it. If you want to take it off, you can just rip it right off. Got our two wings sitting right there. Got our two thighs, and how cool is that? All that beautiful, wonderful yellow fat. And then we got our drumsticks. Now, I'm going to create a new trend here. I'm going to leave the claw on there. You know why? Because that's the most ballinest thing you could do when you're eating a turkey leg or a chicken leg. I'm leaving everything right on there. Don't worry, everybody and their great grandmother's going to be doing that from here on out. All right, so that's how we break it down. Here's the beauty of all this. This, you could freeze it, or you could do what I'm about to do. I'm going to throw it right over there to those pigs. I didn't mess with the guts. I didn't do anything. I basically pieced this bird out without ever even having to get into that gut cavity. All the rest of them, I'm gonna leave whole. I'm gonna take the guts out. You don't, like I said, you can watch that in the video down below. All right, so this is all the feathers and everything. And we got some heads in there. We also got some feet. But here's how we deal with that in this first pile. Whenever you're gonna put something in there, at least when I do, the notion of feeding chickens to chickens is rather appalling to me. But this is the way we deal with it. So I know in this first pile, in fact, I can already feel the warmth. Could be from the sun, but I know exactly that it's composting. This one here is gonna sit a little bit longer, so I don't have a problem with that because I know it's all gonna break down. That's where all the feathers are gonna go. And these guys are entirely too little. The feathers, the head, all that kind of stuff, I'll cover it back up. They're entirely too little to do anything about it. And I know that through the composting process, here in a couple of weeks, that little bit of stuff ain't even gonna be in there, besides it's sitting on top of that comfrey that we put in a little bit earlier. So there's no need to really demonstrate it, but up the hill, we're gonna take all the guts and everything we got out of those other birds, and guess where that's going? It's going to the pigs. Everything, we feed everything to pigs but pig, and everything to chickens but chicken. That's generally it. And the compost is gonna take care of a lot of this for us. So this is a really good place to use up everything that you can't use anywhere else. Also, weeds, anything else you got, put it in here. It'll all be taken care of through the composting process. All right, so the little birds are sitting in there chilling. I'm gonna give them today. Tomorrow, I'll kind of give them the boot if they need a little bit of encouragement. You can just kind of gently nudge them out the door, and just keep in mind that when they're that little, you're gonna, at the first several days, it's gonna be a pain getting them all back in, but it's just part of the game. All right, y'all, so if you need comfrey, you need bone sauce, world's best deer repellent, need anything we have, especially that chicken processing video, it's down below, EMP shield, and don't forget about that hollow roast coffee that we now have. You'll find it down there as well. Till next time, this is Billy from Perma Pastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion, and it's systems like this that make it so.